Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Shift Talk. I think this is episode 7. Yeah, episode 7. Wow, we're making some good progress here. So today we're going to talk about what not to do to your Mustang. And we're going to cover some mods, we're going to cover some styles, some themes, and we're also going to cover some behavior, because there's some behavior that some of you guys need to stop doing. Okay, so to start off, the first thing that I hate seeing, and it makes me cringe inside, that people do is up badging their Mustangs. Please stop doing that. One thing that I see a lot, and I think is okay, is with S550 Mustang GTs, you know, if you have a Gen 2 Coyote, a lot of people will throw the GT500 bumper on, and if you have a Gen 3 Coyote, they'll throw the Mach 1 bumper on. I know some people have different perspectives on that, and I get it. You're not particularly up badging your car, but you are up body styling your car, so to speak. So, you know, when you have a GT500 bumper on a Gen 2 Coyote, it kind of looks like a GT500. In most ways it does. To me, that doesn't really bother me. I don't really like those S550 GT500s anyways. They're all automatic, so I don't really care. But generally, I think that's okay. And also too, it's a Mustang GT. With Mustang GTs, you're kind of allowed to do anything you want to them. So on mine, I'm sure you guys have seen, I have the GT350R lookalike badge. It doesn't say GT350R, and it doesn't have a snake on it. It just says Coyote, and actually has a picture of a Coyote face on it, which would be kind of a cool tattoo. But my car definitely gives off kind of GT350 vibes with that badge on the front. I think you can kind of get away with anything on a Mustang GT as long as you're not actually up badging your car. So for those of you guys who have Gen 2 Coyotes and you have a GT500 bumper, I think you're okay. But if you have a Shelby snake on your bumper, please take it off. Please take it off, for the love of God. Don't drive around like that. It's really embarrassing. Seriously, don't up badge your Mustangs. I think you can throw anything you want on your Mustang GT. They're kind of like the jack of all mods kind of car. So you can put whatever you want on them. Just don't up badge them. That needs to stop. Please don't do that. It's really cringe. And anytime people see you in your car, they're just making fun of you, okay? Because you have to realize the people who know what that badge is and know what that badge means, they're gonna be really interested in it. And if they're interested in it, they're probably gonna know very quickly your car is not an actual Shelby. And the people who don't know what that badge is, they don't care. They don't care what that badge stands for. They don't care that you have it on your car. So it already means nothing to them. It's always a lose-lose situation when you up badge your car. Just don't do it. And that's me sitting here giving you guys leniency, because I'm master of all mods on Mustang GTs. I'm not, but I'm giving you guys leniency here. If you like that GT500 bumper, throw it on. If you like the GT500 spoiler, why not? And if you like the Mach 1 bumper, if you're a Gen 3 Coyote, I think you should do it. I actually have been thinking about, I gotta stop coming to these videos telling you guys the cars I'm thinking about buying, because there's probably 27 so far that I can make a list of. But I do want some sort of S550 back in my life. And if I did go with the Gen 3 Coyote, I probably would do a GT again, and I probably would put a Mach 1 bumper on it. So putting Shelby bumpers, side skirts, spoilers, things like that on your Mustang GT, I think that's totally fine. But just don't up badge it, okay? Please don't. Okay, so the next thing that I don't think you should be doing to your car, and this is pretty universal, but especially on Mustangs, stop putting chrome on it. It's like, stop putting chrome on it. It's really, really hard to make chrome look good and not cheesy and off the shelf from AutoZone kind of look. So there are some Velgen wheels out there that are kind of chrome, kind of not, but they're really good looking. And I think in most cases they flow pretty well with the car. Outside of things like that, stop putting chrome on your car. So stop putting chrome badging, stop putting chrome window trim, and definitely stop putting chrome wheels. And to give some grace to that, I know a relatively, I don't want to say common mod that a lot of people do, but a somewhat commonly done wheel that people put on their Mustangs are those bullet type of wheels, which I think they're okay. They're not the worst in the world. If that's kind of your style, I think that's, that's passable. I don't want to rip on everything that I dislike, but I know my taste is pretty specific, I feel like, when it comes to cars, or I guess specifically car mods. So I don't want to rip on absolutely everything that I don't like. So there are some chrome wheels out there that are okay, but I've seen some ones. This may be a little bit crazy to say, but if you guys are watching my channel, you're probably watching it for generally everything S650, because that's really what I've shown so far on the channel. And if you're watching my channel for S650 content, you guys are probably most likely, I guess a plurality of you are most likely on the S650 Facebook pages. So like the 2024 S650 Mustang GTs and Dark Horses. Trevor may be getting a new pair of shoes, and the shoes that he's displayed are really bad. That kind of chrome, don't do it. It looks terrible. If you guys know what I'm talking about with that one, I really appreciate you, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of you guys that don't. But seriously though, Trevor out there, we appreciate you. Keep posting. We like seeing your car, okay? We support it. But generally, I think chrome is just not a good option. I think it should be very much avoided. Carbon fiber and black. I know they're a little bit cliche and kind of overdone on the Mustangs, but I think for a really good reason, because every time I see carbon fiber parts on a car, or just like a black, an all blacked out exterior mod, it looks good. It always looks good. I know it's a cliche choice, but it's not a wrong choice. So take it easy on the chrome. Now, before I continue, what I do want to say though is, for all of my Mustang drivers out there, I feel like we've been doing a pretty good job. Okay, like overall, anytime I see an S550 Mustang, I'm gonna limit this to the GTs here, Coyotes and up. Anytime I see an S550 Coyote or an S650 Coyote, they're either very much stock, which, there's some mods you should put on your car, but hey, no harm, no foul. We haven't made a bad choice with it yet. Or what I see is very tasteful mods, like 99% of the time. So I think as Mustang owners, we've been doing a pretty good job in terms of mods from what I've been seeing on the streets. Again, most S550s and S650s, they all look really good, or they're just stock. So everybody starts somewhere. I drove a stock S550 and a stock S650 for a little bit. I throw some mods on there and you'll start looking really good, but we're not like the Challenger and Charger people, okay? Anytime I show up to some car meets, there's always like those, those LED strip lights that you see that sit behind a lot of like streamers or people who just do like video games online or something. They have those really cool rooms with a bunch of like red, blue, and purple lights. I see those on Challengers and Chargers, and they look terrible. And I'm really thankful for all my Mustang guys out there and gals. We haven't been doing that. I don't think I've seen a single Mustang with those stupid LED strip lights, either in the grille or around the headlights, or as an underglow kind of effect. So kudos to you guys. We're doing a good job. Let's keep it up, okay? So another thing, I hate to say that I have seen this, but sometimes when I'm bored, every night, it's like an addiction. I go on Facebook Marketplace. I can't stop. I take my shower, I get in bed, I scroll through social media a little bit, and then I go on Facebook Marketplace. It's like crack to me, just seeing the craziness that people post. I have seen some S550 Mustangs and a couple S650 Mustangs with a really stupid Lamborghini suicide doors. If your car does not say Lamborghini on it, your door should not be vertical, not at any point ever. Stop doing that. I actually saw, I wish I screenshotted the post. I'd actually put a picture of it right here. But I actually saw one time a Shelby GT350R with the Lamborghini suicide doors, and they were asking probably $10,000 over what they should have been asking, thinking that the suicide doors that they put on added any value. You couldn't pay me enough money to actually drive around a Shelby GT350 with Lambo doors, because at some point you have to get out of the car, and I don't want to be seen like that. I don't think I'd get out. I'd get out of the trunk. That's what I would do. If I had a Shelby GT350 with Lambo doors, you would see me exit and enter the car through the trunk, because the doors would never open. Anyways, thankfully though, I really don't see Lamborghini doors all that often. I don't even think I've seen them in person on a Mustang. I'm gonna say S550 or S650. I've seen them on S197s, but in person, I've never seen an S550 or 650 with the Lamborghini doors in real life. Thank God for that. It's only been on Facebook Marketplace, which is already a shit show itself. So again, overall, I think you guys are doing pretty good out there and have some decent taste. So that kind of goes over all of the exterior mods that I think are strong no's that you shouldn't be doing to your Mustang. Now, there are a few things that are kind of questionable, but I think generally can be done well if you do them right. A popular thing that you see on S550s is, what are they called? They're on the rear, on the lower valence, and they're like vertical vortex, or like airstream fins. Those rear fins that sit below the lower valence on the rear bumper of those S550s, they're a little, to be honest, they're a little questionable. But when I see them, they do look a bit hyper aggressive and I think a little bit overdone, but I don't think they're the worst thing in the world. And if that's the one popular mod that people are doing to their Mustangs that is a bit questionable, but not super but not insanely overdone, and if it's the worst thing that I really see a lot in person, I'm okay with that. If you like your rear fins on your lower valence, keep putting them on, Kings, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. And I really wish I remembered the term before I started making this video, but here we are, we're just rolling with it. So to get into the performance category, this one isn't like, you know, I'm not gonna like mention a mod and then give you guys a hard no, don't do it, but I think there's a few mods that may not be worth the squeeze. The first one are cold air intakes. The intakes on S550s and S650s, on modern Mustangs, they're about as cold air of an intake that you're gonna get. You're not really gonna get much of a performance increase. Now, I get it, if you're keeping the car naturally aspirated, you wanna squeeze out the most horsepower you can, even if that's like +5 horsepower to the wheels. I get it. So spending that, you know, $300 to $500, you know, to me, I don't think it's like really worth it, but I get it for sure. You know, it's a lot of money to spend for just like a 5 horsepower increase, something that's very nominal and that you're probably never really gonna feel most of the time. It's one of those things that kind of makes you feel like you've completed, you know, part of a list when it comes to saying that my car is FBO. So I get it. And also too, and with those cold air intakes, if you want to do those to make your engine bay look better, I totally get that. I think that's completely valid. If you just really like the look of it, I think it's really hard to say, no, it's not worth it. So if you think spending that money to improve the look is a good ROI, then I say go do it. But if you're really trying to make the most amount of power for the least amount of money, I would say save that $500, don't spend it on cold air intakes. What you should do is take that $500 and go spend it on a tune, specifically an E85 tune if you're a Gen 3 Coyote or Gen 4. And that will be a very significant performance bump. Tuning your car for E85, spending that $500 to do it that way, rather than throwing cold air intakes in. And also too, another thing, headers. Now, to be fair, I do have headers in my car. If you guys have a turbocharged, twin turbocharged, or supercharged setup, either a centrifugal supercharger or a positive displacement supercharger, headers are a really good idea. You're probably gonna burn through your stock cats really quick, unless you're on a very specific manufacturer tune like Whipple or Roush, but you're probably gonna burn through your stock cats really quick. And if you do, you wanna get your stock cats out of there as fast as you can. I've seen some posts on Facebook where people have whippled their S650s, they put it on a tune other than the Whipple calibration, and they get the P0420 or P0430 code, and they don't get their cats out of there, and they have a catastrophic engine failure. I think one post I saw, they had a piston ring break on cylinder 8, because what happens, and again, this isn't an absolute thing that will happen if you get into this scenario with, you know, stock cats, a supercharged setup, and the P0420 and P0430 code, but what can happen is relatively common, is all that honeycomb platinum that's in the catalytic converter that melts into a solid block, and it's literally blocking airflow from your engine getting out all the spent exhaust gases. That creates a pressure, a back pressure, and something fails inside the engine. Usually in that case, it's like a piston ring, which was the case for this guy I saw post on Facebook. So my heart went out to this poor guy. But that's something to be careful about. I got the PL420 or PL430 code when I was on my Rob Shoemaker tune with the Whipple on my stock cats. As soon as I saw that, I got my stock cats out of there and went with some stainless power headers. So headers are definitely probably a future necessity when it comes to Mustangs if you guys have a supercharged setup. But if you guys are NA, I don't know if headers are all that much worth it. I was looking at a few examples of dyno numbers. People are picking up about 15 to 20 horsepower. And that's definitely a decent bid, okay? 15 to 20, it's definitely a decent bid. But headers are expensive at the end of the day. Like, I went with a relatively inexpensive route, going with the stainless power headers, even still with cats. But they were like $1,250, and then I spent like $700 for the install. So with parts and labor, $2,000 later, I have cats in my car. And again, as I'm sure you guys know from my channel already, I am running a supercharged setup. But if you guys are NA, like I said, that $2,000, you know, it's always gonna come up to you guys if what you guys want to spend the money on, if you guys think it's worth it. But I think generally, the Coyotes do an extremely good job with their exhaust cycle, where headers are not all that necessary. The Coyotes already come with shorty headers and some pretty aggressive cats for sure. But, you know, that 15 to 20 horsepower, you know, is it really worth gaining for $2,000? That's a lot of money. You know, I really only spent that $2,000 because I kind of had to. I had to get those stock cats out of the car. But, you know, you get a little bit of performance increase, but it's going to be a little bit noisier, probably going to be a little bit raspier, and it's definitely a little bit more shriekier up into higher RPMs. If that's, you know, something that is worth it to you, you guys think that that's $2,000 well spent, nothing wrong with that. Go get some headers, you know, do your thing. But don't feel like headers are an absolute necessity to throw on a Coyote to make power. That's kind of what I first thought when I was kind of getting into the Mustang game, is thinking that, okay, if I really want to make serious power out of NA Coyote, I need a cold air intake. I probably need some type of manifold porting, and I need headers, full exhaust, and of course an E85 tune. And that's not really the case. Most people are going to throw exhaust on their car just to make it sound better. Really, all you need is an E85 tune, and you'll be doing extremely well. And you're probably not going to feel much of a feelable butt seat dyno difference between, you know, an E85 tune Coyote with stock cats and an E85 tune Coyote with aftermarket headers. So just something to throw out there. Don't feel like you guys have to do it if you guys are on an NA setup. Of course, that's a very circumstantial change if you guys are supercharged or turbocharged. So just a heads up with that. Okay, and the last thing, and this is behavioral, the last thing that we need to stop doing with our Mustangs is crashing into people. We have taken out our fair share of crowds, and we need to fix our reputation, okay? Gentlemen and ladies, I gotta stop saying just gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to fix our reputation with our Mustangs, okay? Stop hitting crowds and stop wrapping your cars around poles or putting them into a ditch upside down. We need to fix this. I have been seeing more and more videos of BMW drivers doing what we used to do, and I think that's a good thing. I don't actually think it's a good thing, okay? But as long as it's not us Mustang drivers, I'm okay with that. BMW drivers, to me, not a fan. So if the reputation shifts to them, I think that's good for us. So let's just all come together as one. Stop hitting crowds, okay? And to give you guys a little bit of driving history for me, I have taken my car into a ditch and wrapped it around a light post one time. This was back in 2014, I think. No, 2013. It was with my 1994 Z28 Camaro. So not a Mustang. So far, I'm not part of the Mustang statistic on that one. I did fix the car though. Well, my dad fixed it, and then we got it back on the road, just so I could total a BMW by crashing into it about 7 months later. Fix it again, and then destroy the transmission. So there's a little bit of car history about me in terms of my not perfect driving record. We've come a long way though. That was almost 15 years ago. Okay. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of Shift Talk. We're on number 7. Yes, number 7. I know this is probably, as soon as I get done editing this video, it's probably a little bit of a shorter episode. I'm still trying to put some feelers out with my videos. My Shift Talk series doesn't seem to be doing all that well, and that's okay. That's totally okay. The last thing I'm ever gonna do is blame the audience for not liking the content that I'm putting out. But I'm thinking maybe I should do a little bit of change to them. Still kind of brainstorming on what that could be. I'm thinking maybe a shorter video might help. Try to, bring in some more viewers for those. I guess we'll see. I'm still relatively new on YouTube, so still trying to figure it out. A lot of this is experimentation. At the end of the day, I'm still having a lot of fun making these Shift Talk episodes, so I appreciate you guys who are watching, coming here, and staying for the full videos. You guys mean everything to me. So to give you guys my typical spiel, don't worry about liking, commenting, or subscribing. That's not important to me right now. I just want you guys to enjoy the videos, take some value out of that, whether that's informational or entertainment. And personally, that's what means the most to me. So thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Shift Talk. I will catch you guys in episode number 8. Take care.